I never expected my promotion day to end with a phone call about my sister's death. Life has a way of serving up your highest highs and lowest lows on the same silver platter. My name is Harper, and 12 hours ago, I was on top of the world. I'd just been named Senior Creative Lead at Morton & Blake Advertising, the promotion I'd been grinding toward for 3 years. The champagne was still chilling in my office mini fridge when my phone buzzed. "Is this Harper Quinn?" The voice was clinical, detached. "I'm calling from Mercy General Hospital regarding your sister, Rachel Quinn." The fluorescent lights in my office suddenly felt too bright. "Yes, this is Harper. What's happened?" "I'm very sorry to inform you that your sister was brought in following a cardiac event. Despite our best efforts." I don't remember dropping the phone. I do remember Miranda, my boss, finding me sitting under my desk 20 minutes later, hyperventilating into my new promotion paperwork. "Harper?" Security called up. "Are you?" She stopped when she saw my face. "What's wrong?" "Rachel's dead." The words felt foreign in my mouth. "My sister's dead, and Lily." "Oh God, Lily." "Lily." My 14-year-old niece. Rachel's daughter. Now an orphan. Miranda's face softened. "Go. We'll handle everything here." The drive to the hospital was a blur. I kept expecting Rachel to call, laughing about some mix-up. She was only 38. People don't just die at 38. The hospital corridor stretched endlessly before me, the antiseptic smell burning my nose. A social worker was waiting with Lily outside the emergency room. My niece looked small, folded into one of those awful plastic chairs, her dark hair hiding her face. "Aunt Harper?" Her voice cracked. I dropped to my knees in front of her, ignoring the bruising impact with the linoleum. "I'm here, sweetheart. I'm right here." She fell into my arms, her body shaking with silent sobs. Over her shoulder, I saw the social worker holding a folder labeled "Quinn, Rachel, next of kin documentation." "Miss Quinn," she said gently, "when you're ready, we need to discuss temporary guardianship arrangements." Temporary. As if anything about this was temporary. That's when I saw her, my mother, Eleanor, striding down the hallway like she owned it. 5 years of silence since she'd walked out on our family, and now here she was. Perfectly coiffed and wearing designer black like she'd been waiting for this moment. "My poor darlings," she cooed, reaching for Lily. I pulled my niece closer, feeling her fingers dig into my back. "Don't. Harper, dear, be reasonable. Lily needs her family right now. Lily has family. She has me." Eleanor's smile didn't reach her eyes. "Of course she does. But raising a teenager is such a responsibility. With your new position." My blood ran cold. How did she know about my promotion? "I'm her legal guardian," I said, though I hadn't signed anything yet. Rachel's will was very clear about that. Something flickered across my mother's face, disappointment? Anger? Before her mask of concern slipped back into place. "We'll see about that, dear. For now, let's focus on poor Rachel." As she glided away to charm the hospital staff, I felt Lily trembling against me. "I don't want to go with her," she whispered. "You won't," I promised, even as doubt gnawed at my stomach. "I won't let that happen." My phone buzzed again, Miranda, probably wondering where I was. The champagne in my office would be warm by now, the promotion paperwork wrinkled from my panic attack. None of it mattered anymore. What mattered was the teenager in my arms, and the predatory way my mother watched us from the nurse's station. Eleanor Quinn didn't show up unless there was something in it for her. The question was, what did she want with Lily? I had a feeling I wouldn't like the answer. 2 weeks after Rachel's funeral, I found myself staring at an empty chair during the Morton & Blake quarterly review meeting. My third absence this month. The client presentation I'd spent months preparing was being delivered by someone else while I sat in a parent-teacher conference, trying to understand why Lily hadn't turned in homework for 2 weeks. She's processing trauma, the counselor had said, her voice gentle but firm. Lily needs stability and support right now, not academic pressure. I'd nodded, made the right noises, and rushed back to the office only to find Miranda waiting in my new corner office. The promotion plaque still hadn't been mounted on the door. "Close the door, Harper." Miranda's voice had that careful neutrality I'd heard her use right before firing people. "We need to talk about your commitment to this position." I sank into my chair, noticing the unopened champagne bottle still sitting in my mini-fridge. I know I've been struggling to balance. The Hendricks account presentation was today. Miranda's fingers drummed against my desk. "Our biggest potential client this quarter." "Where were you?" "Lily's school called." "I understand you're dealing with a family situation." Her tone softened slightly. "But this is the third major meeting you've missed. The team needs leadership they can depend on." My phone buzzed, a text from Eleanor. "Having lunch with my precious granddaughter. Don't worry, I'll have her back before dinner." Face blowing a kiss. My stomach clenched. I hadn't given permission for this. "Miranda, I need to." "No." She held up her hand. "You need to listen. I fought for your promotion because you're brilliant at what you do. But right now, you're not doing it." I glanced at my phone again. Another text, Lily mentioned wanting to try out for the school musical. "Such talent shouldn't be wasted, don't you think? Harper?" Miranda's voice snapped me back. "Are you even listening?" "I'm sorry, it's just. My mother's with Lily right now, and she shouldn't be. She's not supposed to." "This is exactly what I'm talking about." Miranda stood, straightening her blazer. "You have until the end of the week to decide, are you a senior creative lead or a full-time guardian? Because right now, you're failing at both." The words hit like a physical blow. As she left, my phone buzzed again. A photo this time, Lily and Eleanor at some upscale cafe, my mother's arm draped possessively around my niece's shoulders. Lily's smile looked forced. I grabbed my keys, already dialing the school. "This is Harper Quinn, Lily's guardian. Who authorized her early dismissal today?" "One moment." Papers shuffled. "Ah yes, Eleanor Quinn. She's on the approved family contact list." "What? No, that's impossible. I never." "It was updated this morning. We have the signed documentation right here." My hand shook as I started my car. Eleanor had somehow gotten hold of the school forms. Had she forged my signature? The same way she'd forged Dad's signature on those loan documents years ago? I found them at Café Laurent, Eleanor's favorite spot for being seen. Through the window, I watched her showing something to Lily on her phone. My niece's eyes widening with interest. The bell chimed as I pushed through the door. "Lily, get your things. We're leaving." "Harper, darling." Eleanor's smile was pure venom and sugar. "Join us." I was just showing Lily some videos of her mother performing in college. "Did you know Rachel had quite the voice too?" Lily looked up, surprised. "Mom never told me she used to sing." "There's so much about your mother you don't know, sweetheart." Eleanor patted Lily's hand. "So many family stories you've never heard. Stories that aren't yours to tell." I grabbed Lily's backpack. "Let's go." "But Aunt Harper." "Now." In the car, Lily's silence was deafening. Finally, she spoke. "Why didn't you tell me Mom used to sing?" "Because." I gripped the steering wheel tighter. "It's complicated." That's what adults say when they're hiding something. She was right. There were things about Rachel, about our whole family, that I'd kept buried. Things Eleanor knew, and would weaponize if given the chance. My phone buzzed one last time. "Miranda, final warning. Tomorrow's executive meeting. Don't miss it." I looked at Lily's reflection in the rearview mirror, saw Rachel and the shape of her jaw, the furrow of her brow. The truth would come out eventually. The question was, Would I be the one to tell it, or would Eleanor? I never meant to snoop through Lily's computer. But when I heard singing coming from her room at 3 in the morning, I thought she was watching old videos of Rachel again. Instead, I found something that changed everything. The YouTube channel had over 50,000 subscribers. Lily Quinn sings, nearly 100 videos, each one showcasing my niece's voice in ways I'd never heard before. The latest upload was from 2 hours ago, Hallelujah, for Mom. I stood in her doorway, watching her record another take. She hadn't noticed me yet, too focused on the microphone she'd hidden in her closet all this time. Her voice was hauntingly similar to Rachel's, but with something else, something uniquely Lily. That was beautiful, I said when she finished. Lily spun around, yanking her headphones off. I can explain. 50,000 subscribers? I stepped into the room, scanning the comments on her latest video. How long have you been doing this? 2 years. She twisted her hands in her lap. Mom didn't. She didn't want me performing. Not after what happened with Grandma Eleanor. The pieces clicked together. Eleanor's sudden interest, the videos of Rachel singing, the careful way she'd been cultivating Lily's trust. Your grandmother's seen these, hasn't she? Lily nodded. She subscribed last week. Said she could introduce me to some people in the industry. My phone buzzed, an email from Eleanor. The subject line made my blood run cold, management contract, Lily Quinn. She wants to be my manager, Lily said quietly. Says she can make me famous, like Mom could have been. I opened the email. Attached was a professional contract, already signed by Eleanor as the responsible party. Did she tell you why Rachel stopped singing? She said Mom got scared of success. That she let her anxiety hold her back. That's not what happened. I sat on Lily's bed, the springs creaking under my weight. Your mom was 18 when Eleanor booked her first tour. Small venues, mostly bars. The contract gave Eleanor complete control over Rachel's earnings, for management fees. Lily's eyes widened. What happened? The money disappeared. Every penny Rachel earned went into Eleanor's accounts. When Rachel tried to break the contract, Eleanor threatened to sue her for breach of contract. Your mom was barely legal drinking age, performing in bars, while Eleanor lived in luxury hotels on her earnings. But Grandma Eleanor says she just wants to help me avoid Mom's mistakes. My phone buzzed again. Miranda, missed the executive meeting. Clear out your office by Friday. I should have felt devastated. Instead, a strange calm settled over me. Lily, do you want to perform? Not for Eleanor, not for your mom's memory, but for yourself? She nodded, tears spilling down her cheeks. It's the only time I feel close to Mom now. When I'm singing, it's like she's still here. Then we'll do it right. I pulled up Eleanor's contract again, noting all the familiar predatory clauses. But not with Eleanor. Not ever with Eleanor. What about your job? Some things are more important. I wrapped an arm around her shoulders. We'll figure it out together. My phone lit up with another email. Eleanor again, Lily's first showcase next weekend. Don't interfere if you know what's best for her. She's already booked me to perform, Lily whispered. At some industry showcase. I didn't know how to say no. I thought of Rachel, barely 18, trapped in Eleanor's web of contracts and manipulation. History wouldn't repeat itself. Not with Lily. You don't have to say no, I said, an idea forming. In fact, you should definitely perform. Really? Really. But first, we need to make a video of our own. I picked up her microphone. Think you're up for one more song tonight? Lily's smile was pure Rachel, determined, fierce, hopeful. What are we going to sing? Something Eleanor won't expect. I pulled up the backing track on my phone. Something that tells the truth about our family. As Lily's voice filled the room again, I started drafting emails, to music lawyers, to legitimate agents. To everyone in my network who could help protect her. Eleanor wanted a show? We'd give her one she'd never forget. The war for Lily's future had begun, and this time, I wasn't backing down. The cardboard box felt too light for 15 years of career achievements. One industry award, 3 framed campaign posters, and a dead plant Miranda had given me when I first started. Security waited by the door while I packed, like I might steal office supplies or client files on my way out. Need help with that? Alex stood in the doorway, his presence a reminder that not everything in my life was falling apart. My boyfriend of 2 years had that look he gets when he's trying not to fix things. I got it. I tucked the plant under my arm. Though I'm not sure why I'm saving this thing. It's been dead longer than most of my relationships. Harper. He stepped closer, lowering his voice. You don't have to pretend this is okay. Before I could respond, my phone lit up with a text from Lily. Grandma Eleanor brought a producer to my school today. He wants to record a demo. My dead plant hit the floor, pottery shattering. The security guard stepped forward, but Alex waved him off. I'll clean it up, he said, already reaching for the dustpan. Go. The drive to Lily's school took 20 minutes. I found them in the music room, Eleanor, Lily, and a man in an expensive suit who looked like he'd stepped out of a record label boardroom. Harper. Eleanor's smile was razor-sharp. Perfect timing. Marcus was just explaining the demo contract to Lily. Marcus extended his hand. Marcus Chen, Starlight Records. Your niece has extraordinary talent. She's 14, I said, ignoring his hand. And any contracts need to go through me. Of course. He pulled out a business card. But Eleanor mentioned you're between jobs right now. Our junior artist program includes a generous advance that could help with immediate expenses. My chest tightened. Of course Eleanor had told him about my firing. She'd probably orchestrated it somehow. Actually, Lily spoke up. I already uploaded the song Aunt Harper and I recorded last night. It's getting a lot of views. Eleanor's smile flickered. What song? I pulled up the video on my phone, Lily, singing Rachel's old composition about broken trust and second chances. The one Eleanor had tried to bury years ago. The comment section was filled with people asking about the story behind the lyrics. Taking quite a risk there, Marcus said, studying the video. That song has history. You knew? I asked. Everyone in the industry knows about Rachel Quinn and the contract dispute of '03. It's a cautionary tale. He glanced at Eleanor. Though some versions paint it differently than others. Eleanor's composure cracked. That song was under contract. You had no right. Rachel wrote it, I cut in. You never owned it. Just like you never owned her, and you don't own Lily. I'm trying to give her what Rachel threw away. No. Lily's voice was quiet but firm. You're trying to own what Mom refused to give you. The silence that followed was deafening. Marcus cleared his throat. Perhaps we should discuss this another time. He handed me another card. Call me when you've sorted out the family dynamics. And Lily? Think carefully about whose management style will best serve your career. After he left, Eleanor turned on me. You've ruined everything. Again. Just like you did with Rachel. What's she talking about? Lily asked. Ask her why she really quit singing, Eleanor snapped. Ask her what she told Rachel that made her break the contract. I told her the truth, I said, meeting Eleanor's gaze. The same truth I'm telling Lily now. Some prices are too high, no matter how bright the spotlight. The truth? Eleanor laughed bitterly. The truth is, you were jealous. Both of you had the gift, but Rachel had the drive. Until you poisoned her against me. I froze. Both of us? Oh, darling. Eleanor's smile returned, triumphant. Did you think I never heard you singing when you thought no one was listening? You could have been just as successful as Rachel. As Lily will be, once she understands what real ambition looks like. Lily looked between us, confusion clear on her face. Aunt Harper. You sing? The weight of Eleanor's words hit me like physical blows. All these years, I'd thought I'd protected Rachel. But maybe I'd just been hiding from my own fears, my own potential. Not anymore, I said, taking Lily's hand. But that doesn't mean I can't help you shine. Eleanor's eyes narrowed. We'll see about that. As we left the music room, I could feel her watching us. She'd lost this round, but Eleanor Quinn never accepted defeat. The question was, what would she do next? And more importantly, what would I do when she did? The invitation to Eleanor's family dinner arrived by courier, cream-colored cardstock that probably cost more than my weekly grocery budget. Lily's upcoming showcase was printed in gold lettering, along with a guest list that made my stomach churn. Record executives. Industry lawyers. Music producers. We should go, Lily said, fingers tracing the embossed letters. Marcus Chin will be there. He's been commenting on all my videos. I looked up from Rachel's old journals, spread across my dining room table. That's exactly why we shouldn't go. Eleanor's turning your showcase into a business meeting. Maybe that's not a bad thing. Lily sat beside me, glancing at the journals. What are you looking for? Evidence. I flipped through another notebook. Your mom documented everything during her contract dispute. There has to be something we can use. Use for what? Alex appeared in the doorway, takeout bags in hand. You've been buried in those journals for days. For protection, I said, accepting the container he handed me. Eleanor's planning something. She doesn't throw dinner parties unless she's setting a trap. Lily picked up one of Rachel's journals. September 15, 2003, Mom brought another contract today. Says it's just a formality, but the terms are worse than before. She's trying to own my voice, my future, my dash. She stopped reading. Is this what you're afraid of? History repeats itself, I said quietly. Especially with Eleanor. My phone buzzed. Marcus Chin, impressive online numbers. Ready to discuss that contract? Eleanor mentioned you're running low on savings. Another buzz. Eleanor, dinner attendance is mandatory, darling. Unless you want social services to hear about Lily's declining grades and your unemployment. The threat was clear. I'd been so focused on protecting Lily from Eleanor's music industry manipulation that I'd forgotten about her other weapons. We'll go, I said finally. But we play it smart. No signing anything, no private meetings, no. Actually, Lily interrupted, I already met with Marcus yesterday. After school. The takeout container slipped from my hands. Alex caught it before it hit the floor. Grandma Eleanor said it would be better if you weren't there, Lily continued. Since you're too emotional about Mom's history with the industry. What did you sign? Nothing. I just recorded a demo. Marcus says it could be on streaming platforms by next week. I grabbed my keys. We're going to his office. Right now. Whatever you recorded. No. Lily's voice hardened. I'm not Mom, Aunt Harper. And Grandma Eleanor isn't the villain you want her to be. Maybe she's changed. People like Eleanor don't change. They just get better at hiding their true nature. Like you're hiding something? Lily held up one of Rachel's journals. I found this under your bed. The entry about why Mom really quit singing. My breath caught. That journal, the one I'd hidden years ago, contained the truth about the night everything fell apart. The real reason Rachel walked away from her career. Lily. Mom wrote that you were there that night. That you saw everything. But you've never told me what happened. Alex touched my shoulder. Maybe it's time, Harper. If I tell you, I said slowly, you have to promise to stay away from Marcus and Eleanor until after the showcase. Lily nodded. The night your mom broke her contract, Eleanor had arranged a private performance for some executives. Rachel was supposed to sing her new songs, the ones Eleanor had claimed rights to without telling her. But when Rachel arrived, what? The executives weren't there for her music. Eleanor had promised them other things. Things no mother should ever ask of her daughter. My voice cracked. I was backstage when I overheard them discussing the real contract terms. Lily's face paled. Did Mom know? I told her everything. We left that night and never looked back. Eleanor denied it all, of course. Said we were ungrateful, dramatic. That we'd ruined everything she'd built. The showcase dinner, Lily whispered. All those executives. Now you understand why we can't trust her. I picked up my phone, Eleanor's threat glowing on the screen. But we can't ignore her either. Not if we want to protect your future. So what do we do? I looked at Rachel's journals, at Eleanor's invitation, at my niece's frightened face. We go to dinner. We play her game. And then we make sure everyone knows exactly who Eleanor Quinn really is. The question was, could I protect Lily without destroying what remained of our family in the process? Eleanor's showcase dinner felt like walking into a beautifully decorated trap. Crystal glasses caught the light, making the dining room sparkle like a cage made of diamonds. Every face at the table represented another way I could lose Lily. Marcus Chin sat at Eleanor's right hand, contract papers peeking from his briefcase. 3 other executives I recognized from Rachel's journals completed the tableau. The empty chair between them might as well have had sacrifice written on it. Lily will perform after dessert, Eleanor announced, playing hostess like she hadn't tried to destroy her own daughter's life 15 years ago. Harper, darling, you're looking pale. More wine? I gripped my water glass tighter. I'm fine. Are you? Marcus slid a folder across the table. Because these preliminary contracts need a guardian's signature, and your hesitation is holding up Lily's career. Lily, seated between us, reached for the papers. I caught her hand under the table, feeling it tremble. Actually, Eleanor said, I've taken care of that detail. She produced another document with a flourish. The court approved my petition for temporary guardianship this morning. Given Harper's unemployment and recent emotional instability. The room tilted. You what? It's just until things stabilize, Marcus added smoothly. The label wants to move quickly, and with Eleanor's industry experience. Show them, Lily whispered. I pulled Rachel's journal from my bag, but Eleanor was faster. She slid a phone across the table, a video playing on the screen. Me, in my apartment, screaming at Alex about Eleanor, about Rachel, about everything. The timestamp was from 2 days ago. Emotional instability, Eleanor repeated softly. The courts take that very seriously when considering guardianship. You bugged my apartment? I protected my granddaughter's interests. Eleanor's smile was razor-sharp. Just like I tried to protect Rachel. Before you poisoned her mind with lies. Lies? I stood, my chair scraping back. Should I tell everyone what really happened that night? About the private performance you arranged? Aunt Harper, Lily tugged at my sleeve. Not like this. Yes, Harper, Eleanor's voice dripped honey-coated venom. Not like this. Not when Lily's future hangs in the balance. Unless you want her to end up like Rachel, bitter, broke, and ultimately gone. The threat hung in the air like poison. The contracts, Marcus interrupted smoothly, are quite generous. Full creative control, college fund, health insurance. He paused. And of course, provisions for Harper's ongoing expenses. They were trying to buy me off. Just like they'd tried with Rachel. Lily, I turned to my niece, we can fight this. Rachel's journals are 15 years old, Eleanor cut in. Ancient history. Lily lives in the present, where opportunities await. Don't you, sweetheart? Lily looked between us, tears brimming. I want to sing, Aunt Harper. I want Mom to be proud. Rachel would never want this. Rachel's dead, Eleanor snapped. And you're not doing Lily any favors by clinging to old grievances. The executives shifted uncomfortably. This wasn't the elegant business dinner they'd expected. Sign the guardianship transfer, Eleanor pushed. Walk away with a generous settlement. Everyone wins. Everyone except Lily. I'm right here. Lily's voice cracked. Stop talking about me like I'm not here. Both of you. She grabbed the contract from Marcus, a pen from Eleanor. Lily, don't. Watch me. Her signature was shaky but determined. I'm doing this. For Mom. For me. Eleanor's triumph radiated like a nuclear blast. Marcus, why don't you take Lily to the music room? Let her warm up before her performance. As they left, Eleanor leaned close. You'll receive the settlement papers tomorrow. Sign them, take the money, and disappear. Just like you made Rachel disappear. Rachel died of natural causes. Did she? Eleanor's whisper was barely audible. Are you sure about that? The implication hit like a physical blow. Before I could respond, Eleanor glided away to join her guests, leaving me alone with an empty water glass and a devastating possibility I'd never considered. What if Rachel's death wasn't as natural as we thought? And what if I'd just lost Lily to the same person who might have orchestrated it? The toxicology report felt heavy in my hands as I walked into Eleanor's study. She sat behind her mahogany desk, reading glasses perched on her nose, reviewing what looked like tour dates for Lily's upcoming performances. I was wondering when you'd figure it out, she said without looking up. Rachel's heart condition was induced by long-term exposure to beta blockers. My voice stayed steady, despite the rage burning in my chest. The same medication you've taken for years. Circumstantial. Eleanor removed her glasses. And irrelevant, now that Lily's contract is signed. I found your old prescription bottles in Rachel's house. The ones you accidentally left during your visits. I placed the toxicology report on her desk. The dosage increased every month before she died. A door creaked behind me. Lily stood in the doorway, her performance outfit glittering under the study's lights. Her face was pale. Grandma? Don't listen to her, sweetheart. Eleanor's smile was practiced perfection. Your aunt is desperate. She's always been jealous of true talent. Tell her about the private performances, Mother. The word tasted like poison. Tell her what happens to Quinn women when they try to break free. Eleanor's mask cracked slightly. You're hysterical. Just like Rachel was at the end. I recorded our dinner conversation. I pulled out my phone. About Rachel's death not being natural. The courts might find that interesting. You'd destroy Lily's career? Her chance at everything Rachel threw away? Eleanor stood, her composure slipping. I gave you both everything. The lessons, the connections, the opportunities. The drugs? Lily's voice shook. Did you give those to Mom too? I protected her. Eleanor slammed her hands on the desk. She was going to leave, just like your aunt convinced her to before. I couldn't lose another daughter to mediocrity. The silence that followed was deafening. You didn't lose us, I said quietly. You sold us. First Rachel, then me, and now you're trying to sell Lily. It's business. Eleanor's voice hardened. Family is business. Love is business. Everything has a price. Not everything. Lily stepped forward, placing a USB drive on the desk. I recorded my showcase performance. The one you wanted me to do tonight. Eleanor reached for it, but Lily pulled back. It's Rachel's song. The one she wrote about that night, the private performance. I found all the lyrics in her journals. Lily's voice strengthened. I uploaded it an hour ago. It's probably viral by now. Eleanor's face went ash white. You wouldn't dare. I'm a Quinn woman. Lily's smile was pure Rachel. We dare. The police have the toxicology report, I added. And copies of all Rachel's journals. Your choice, Mother. Walk away now, or we take everything down with us. Eleanor sank into her chair, suddenly looking every bit her 60 years. You don't understand. I did it for us. The family name is worth nothing compared to family itself. Lily moved to stand beside me. Mom understood that. Aunt Harper understands that. When will you? The contracts are void if the signatory is under investigation for murder. I pulled out one last document, a restraining order. Your choice, Mother. But choose carefully. Eleanor stared at us, her carefully constructed world crumbling. For a moment, I saw something in her eyes, regret. Fear? But then it was gone, replaced by the cold calculation I remembered from childhood. You'll regret this, she said softly. Both of you. No. Lily took my hand. We won't. As we walked out of Eleanor's study, I heard her calling her lawyers. But it didn't matter anymore. The truth was out, in Rachel's journals, in Lily's song, in the evidence we'd gathered. What happens now? Lily asked as we drove away from the mansion. I thought about Rachel, about Eleanor, about the twisted path that led us here. Now we do what Quinn women do best. What's that? We sing our own song. No matter who tries to silence us. The setting sun painted the sky in shades of hope as Eleanor's house disappeared in the rearview mirror. We had lost so much, but in fighting back, we'd found something stronger than revenge, we'd found our voice. And this time, no one would take it away. 1 year later, I stood backstage at Lily's first official concert, watching her prepare for the biggest performance of her life. Not in some sleazy bar or corporate showcase, but in a proper venue, with fans who knew every word of her songs, especially Rachel's. The dressing room mirror reflected both of us, Lily in her stage outfit, me in my new manager's blazer. Different paths, same determination in our eyes. Mom's journal arrived this morning, Lily said, adjusting her microphone. The last one. Eleanor had been sending them one by one over the past year, Rachel's private journals. Discovered in hidden spots throughout the mansion as she packed to leave for her court-mandated rehabilitation. Each one contained pieces of our family's story, written in Rachel's careful hand. Have you read it? I asked. Not yet. Lily touched the worn leather cover. I thought maybe we could read it together. After the show. A stagehand appeared at the door. 5 minutes, Miss Quinn. The crowd's energy vibrated through the walls. Somewhere out there, Alex sat with Miranda, who'd surprisingly become one of our strongest supporters after the truth about Eleanor came out. She'd even helped us navigate the industry contracts, ensuring Lily's career stayed firmly in our control. Aunt Harper? Lily's voice was small. Do you think she'll come? We both knew who she meant. Eleanor had been released from rehab last week. Her lawyer had sent passes for tonight's show, but we hadn't heard anything else. I don't know, sweetie. I squeezed her shoulder. But we're okay either way. Lily nodded, then pulled something from her bag, a small USB drive. I wrote a new song. About everything that happened. About Mom and Eleanor and us. For tonight? If you think it's ready. She pressed it into my hand. It's called 3 Generations. Before I could respond, the stage manager called for places. Lily took a deep breath, squared her shoulders, just like Rachel used to, and headed for the stage. I watched from the wings as she owned the spotlight, her voice carrying Rachel's strength and her own unique power. The audience hung on every note, every word. They knew her story now, our story, and they loved her more for its truth. Halfway through the set, I spotted movement in the VIP section. Eleanor, looking smaller somehow, less polished. She caught my eye across the distance. For a moment, I saw past the manipulation and greed to something else, regret, maybe. Or recognition of what she'd lost. She lifted her hand in a small wave. I didn't wave back, but I didn't call security either. After the main set, Lily returned backstage, glowing with adrenaline. The new song? I handed her the USB drive. Your choice. Always your choice. She walked back out into the spotlight. This last song is new, she told the crowd. It's for 3 women who lost their way trying to protect each other. And for the one who taught me that real protection means letting someone find their own voice. The music started, gentle at first, then building like a storm. Lily's lyrics wove our history into something new, Eleanor's fear of insignificance, Rachel's desperate bid for freedom. My journey from revenge to understanding. And through it all, Lily's own voice, strong and clear, choosing a different path. I felt Eleanor's presence behind me before she spoke. She's better than we ever were. She's exactly who she's meant to be. Eleanor nodded, tears tracking silently down her face. Without another word, she turned and walked away. Some wounds wouldn't heal, some bridges couldn't be rebuilt. But maybe that was okay too. On stage, Lily hit the final note, not a cry of pain or triumph, but a quiet acknowledgement of truth. The audience erupted, but she looked only at me, her smile pure Rachel. The last journal sat in my bag, waiting to reveal its secrets. Tomorrow, we'd read it together, adding its truth to our story. But tonight belonged to Lily's voice, carrying all our hopes and scars into something beautiful. Sometimes protection means standing guard, and sometimes it means stepping aside. The trick is knowing the difference. Rachel had known. Now, finally, so did I.